Mic check, mind check, mic check, mind check, mic check, mind check, mind check, mind check, mind check, mic 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 check, mind check. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, man. We back at it. Mind check, mic check, mic check. We back. Alhamdulillah, man. Y'all already know, man. It's your host, Salaf. And I'm here today with, my beloved brothers and a special guest, guys. We're here with a special guest.
Yes, sir.
But, on my right, I have here, he's supposed to be my co-host, but I'm still thinking about it because right now we kind of beefing right now, we not beefing.
No. He's a light-skinned brother. He needs to be your co-host.
Right.
He's a light-skinned boy. He needs to be there.
Nah, we're going to iron things out.
But I have my brother here, Bilal Jaramin. He'll be serving us in the military very soon. Is that right?
Yep. Well, I'm serving right now. But
For real?
Yeah.
Wow, I think that's a different conversation to have. I think that's an interesting conversation to have.
So?
Okay, I think so.
Right.
It's interesting.
Yeah. For sure. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
We'll talk about that.
On the next podcast episode.
on the next
Muslim
podcast.
Joins American Army.
Yo,
Question mark.
I'm not
Question mark?
That's good. That's good.
That would be good
Right.
content.
Right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, that's
Listen,
good.
They need to tell us in the comments. They need to tell us in everything else what y'all think about this idea. Let's do it.
See,
Yeah.
I love your energy. And also here, we have here, our beloved brother, Omar, Sheikh Tunka. Y'all already know. Make sure y'all follow his page. What's your page again?
It's called Sport of Sporting.
Sport of
We
Sporting.
basically do soccer content. Yeah.
Brother Omar.
Hey, brother Omar.
Wow, mashallah. I like the merch,
You
bro.
telling
Give
me
a plug for the
right.
my whole government.
Bro,
Do that.
brother, yo, I'm feeling that merch has that friend style. It's fire.
Thank you,
the merch,
thank you.
man.
Yeah, I
Get
like
that
it
merch
too.
promo.
Straight from Mali, Mayo.
You already know.
And then, last but not least, man, this brother here, man. So, he's a big advocate in the community, youth.
I got him lost for words. Damn.
The youth love him, you know him, we know him.
Everybody know him.
Everybody know him. He's a dad. Are you in the da'wah field?
I don't know what to call myself. I'd say yes.
YouTuber?
But I don't know what to call myself. I'm just a servant of Allah.
You just serving Allah.
I'm a servant of Allah.
Allah.
I'm none of those things, but I appreciate the invite. When my bro, I call him Young Steve Jobs because when I seen him, he had this turtleneck. I'm like, Salaf, nah, Young Steve Jobs, baby. And I appreciate it because, and this is what we were talking off camera, that it takes a lot of intentions, a lot of efforts and energy to set this whole thing up.
No,
You know what I
for
mean?
sure,
And may
for
Allah
sure.
reward you for this, what you're doing for the community, for the ummah, for the youth, because no effort is a small effort. You understand? So
For sure.
no one's doing something more than you are. You're not. No, everyone's putting their part. You're making that soccer content. That's for Muslims, mashallah. You're a light-skinned brother. For all representing all the light-skinned brother, mashallah. And my bro, you're representing Islam on a different platform, not just here, but also in the Department of Education, which I think is really amazing.
Nah, definitely not. Nah, I definitely appreciate having you. You giving us the time to come here to chop it up a bit because we do have a topic in mind today.
It's a spicy one. I'm not gonna
spice
hold
it up
you.
a bit.
It's a spicy one. It's a
Spice it
spicy
up a
one.
bit.
Yeah.
And, the youth and the thing is, I feel like I don't know what most people be like they tired talking about it, but when you go into youth circles, that's what everybody's talking about. When you go on Instagram, that's what everybody's talking about, right?
Bro, let me tell you something. This topic that we're talking about right now is timeless. This is a
timeless.
problem
That's true.
that's happened since the go, and even now, and then even the future when we're in the ground. This is an issue because guess what? The Messenger Sallallahu said what? That one of his fears for his ummah, the greatest fear, the greatest fitna for his ummah is women, right? Is the opposite gender for the person. So this is going to be a prevalent issue until the day of judgment. So I'm just happy that we have the courage and to talk about it because we got to. We got to.
For sure. I mean, we're gonna start it off. I think I would like us to start it off from the topic itself is finding your spouse, finding how to find your spouse or how to go about it, and all the struggles. Me and him was talking about it in the car. What you were saying again, bro?
I was saying that nowadays the parents make it very difficult for the young people to get married. Let's say your mom said, all right, get married, but they want a specific one. from this culture, from this race, from this country. You're making it hard.
Well, why do you allow them to do that?
That's a great question.
It's
tough. Tricky too.
You
know?
Nah, it's tough though, SQ.
Listen.
It's tough.
I'm not here to say. I'm not saying. Time out. I
tough.
never said it wasn't tough. Let's just be clear here. I say it like it sounds easy, but I never said it was, right? Well, let me ask you, isn't it supposed to be difficult to find the love of your life? Like, you think you're supposed to go around the block and,
Damn.
you know what I mean? Isn't it supposed to be difficult? Isn't it supposed to be a struggle? Isn't there a jihad for finding your spouse and avoiding zina and avoiding haram? So, like, it's supposed to be tough. It's
Yes,
supposed to be
it's
tough.
supposed to be
And
tough.
the tougher
I
it is, the
agree.
sweeter the reward.
I agree, but you know the way the parents making it
I agree.
difficult
I agree.
is different.
Right, and I also think, you know, for you maybe it might be a little different, you know, with most of us Africans here, you know, with African
Why you say
background,
that?
there's emphasis on, you know, the level of respect, you know, you're supposed to have for your parents.
Okay.
Right. I think it might be different.
We had
from where you-
no. It's the same.
same,
It's
bro.
the same.
I know we're Muslims, you know, at the end of the day, but
Habibi, let
you
me
know,
tell you
being
something.
African on top of that, there's just this level, this extra layer of.
I,
you know,
I agree with you. I agree that there is a level of more culture or whatever it might be you want to consider it. But let me tell you something. As a parent, I don't even care if you're Muslim or non-Muslim. A parent wants to be respected by their children. Period. You understand? Every parent. It's something the parent has. They love that child their whole life, and now all of a sudden that same child's like cursing them out. That's why when we look at the people who are non-Muslim and their lives are turned around, they're like, yo, what's going on? We as Muslims have the guidance from Allah that shows that we have to be utmost respectful to our parents. Even if they're non-Muslim, we have to be that. But what the complication is when you think just saying yes to everything they tell you means obedience. Like, since when is that obedience? There's a difference between pleasing your parents and appeasing your parents.
Yeah.
Two different things.
yeah.
All right, so like in that case, then like, you know, we're gonna start off from there, right?
Let's
Then-
go.
All right, then how do you go about that then? Like how do let's say I have a parent, I see someone, and like. That's like, you know, like that's when like most of the, you know what I'm saying, that's when most of us falls into these haram relationships, right? Because like, yo, like I see a sister that I like, I approach my parents with it.
Okay.
No, you try every corner that you can, and they just deny it, right? So now, like how do you go about that? Because, you know, Islamically too, like I mean, your parents are you know, are not your only walima, correct?
Sure.
Yeah, Wally.
Yeah, your
wali.
Wali. I say walima. All these
Where's his
walima.
mind?
Yo,
He's thinking about
Right,
the
I
other
was
part of
thinking
the
about it.
marriage.
Right. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, in our
Rosa.
community, like these past few weeks, it's been weddings.
Yes.
On top of weddings.
Yes.
On top
yes.
of weddings. Yeah.
MashaAllah. May Allah bless everyone's marriage.
Amen.
And may Allah make it easy for everyone to find a spot. Wallahi, it's not supposed to be easy.
Amen.
It's not supposed to be easy. You know what I mean? It's tough. It's tough to find the person. Listen, you're jumping straight into this topic.
Yeah.
Before we even get there,
Uh-huh.
I have a gift for ya.
Oh.
Quick. Okay? I'm
What's
gonna pass
that?
out a cup.
I
Hold on.
Alright.
Don't spoil it for them.
Alright.
Okay? Don't spoil it for them. It's a little cup. I want to bless you out with some authentic Zamzam water directly from
MashaAllah, very
Mecca.
thoughtful.
Yeah.
Directly from Mecca, inshallah.
MashaAllah.
This is some Zamzam, a gift from me to you guys. Okay?
That with this, you know, I think I'm gonna have to throw this out.
No. Take some of that.
Hey,
Yeah,
throw it
Let me
out.
get some of
I
yours.
think you should.
Let me tell you something about this Zamzam, right? This is miracle water directly sent from Allah using the Archangel gift. Bro, don't drink it yet. Wait for us. Man,
man.
he needs to have some chill. All right?
Toast is
Oh,
coming.
hold on.
Yeah, the toast is coming too, you know,
Ah,
and
no problem.
the angel Jibril alayhi salam came down, struck his wing, right? And it poured water. So much so that Hajjah alayhi salam was so overwhelmed with this water that she said, Zam, like calm down, control, like contain. And that's where the water name comes from. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Zamzam has whatever you need it for. You drink it for whatever you need. And it has shifa for everything that you have, all right? What we have done, obviously, if you want to get some Zamzam, where do you got to go to get this? Where do you got to go? This is you've been to Umrah or Hajj? Right?
Well, not yet.
Inshallah, we gotta do a brother's one. We gotta do
Yep.
this
Yeah, we gotta
official
go.
bottle
Yeah.
is only available when you go to Mecca. If your audience is watching this, they know this bottle is the official Zamzam bottle from Mecca that you get on your way out.
Official is
Only
a
way for
big
you to
one,
get
though.
it was to go for Hajj or Umrah if Allah invites you, for you to get that. But guess what? We're the first person in history since the time of Ibrahim alayhi salam to import this water into the United States and Canada. Now it's as simple as a click away. You go to projectzamzam.com and you're able to order a bottle directly shipped to your home in USA and Canada, free shipping. And the best part about it, 100% of the profit goes to building a free public school in Gaza. Inshallah, that's the plan. As a school educator,
That's a
he's an
great cause.
educator as well. Exactly. So we're using this water that helped the ummah out back then to help the ummah out today.
Right.
Mashallah,
So
man.
that's what we're doing.
make sure y'all
Bismillah,
come.
people. Definitely
No,
come.
make sure you
ProjectZamZam.com.
come.
Bismillah. This is a Bismillah. Cheers for us. May Allah increase you. Bless this podcast and bless all you brothers and
Amen.
righteous spouses. Ameen. Bismillah.
Amen.
Can I smell it?
Bro, do what you want with it. This is so good. MashaAllah.
Bismillah.
It's different. It's just
Oh,
different.
man. It ain't no essential water.
It's
No Poland
healthy.
Spring. This is the real deal, baby.
This
Bismillah.
ain't pulling string, right?
Now I see where the whole initial encounter came from with my water.
No, listen, it's all about water. It's all about water.
Right,
But
right.
Listen, man.
Is different.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
I don't know how to
definitely,
explain it.
definitely. The freshness of it is just.
You can
Yeah.
taste the
Mashallah.
difference in it,
Yeah,
mashallah.
yeah.
When was the last time you guys had Zamzam?
Mm.
Ooh, look at his eyes just pop, like, wow.
Right. I think when my mother came from Mecca, that
Mecca,
was
right.
before pre-COVID.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So Zamzam's not available, and now people can't even go to Mecca like that. So
Right. Yeah.
it's tough. But, either way, we made it accessible for you guys. Now we're trying to make marriage accessible for y'all. So let's
do-
get
like,
into this, bro.
like,
Let's get
like,
into
like-
this.
Yeah, like I was saying, man. Like, I mean, alhamdulillah, you're married, correct?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah. Married.
Okay, he said it with a smile.
Yeah,
It must be
man.
fresh. It must be fresh still. Okay.
It's fresh.
Okay,
It's fresh.
mashallah, mashallah.
And, Omar,
Nah, brother's single.
Brother's single.
Mashallah.
Sisters, lower your gaze. Don't be looking at my man. I'm his Willie. You got to come talk to me.
Right,
Yes,
right,
sir.
right.
yeah. So
What about? Wait, hold on. What about you? Hold on.
Don't
You can't be
skip.
doing that. Don't
Right,
skip
right,
yourself.
right, right.
Don't
He's
skip
Hey,
yourself.
hey, you
like,
know,
let me ask y'all the question and just skip
let me see.
myself.
I mean,
real quick.
probably by the time I drop this video, I'm off the market.
He
So-
might be
Okay,
cuffed.
Okay.
And I,
He
Wait,
might
wait,
be
wait, hold
cuffed.
on.
I'm off the. By
How
the time
long when you gonna drop this?
Hey.
In a week?
Hey.
Hey,
Yeah,
right,
shout
right.
out.
Hint, guys.
Hey, so
You know.
by the time this video's drop,
Ah, mashallah.
Mashallah, may
Yeah.
Allah bless
Yes.
all you guys.
Y'all
Yeah.
had your times, man. Y'all had your times.
We're trying.
Now he's off the market.
And that's it.
It's over.
May Allah show us that.
I
all right. So let's go back. All right, let's start from how do you go about finding a spouse? Like, what do you guys? I mean, because obviously, like Islamically, there's a way on how to approach, the opposite gender for marriage, whether male or female.
Yeah.
We have our walis that we go to, make sure parents are aware of any interaction we have in, with the opposite gender. So what is in this time? We have all these social medias. It's quick to just hit up someone. Hey, what's up? What you doing? And I think sometimes not knowing, even though the intention is like, I want to marry you, but before we even get to that, it's like we fall into like these traps, and then like, how do you guys feel about all of that? Like, what do you guys think about that?
Hey, I'm single, so we
Yeah.
gotta ask the married brothers.
You could still speak
You
on
know.
that.
Matter of fact, how did you find your spouse?
Yeah,
You know what I'm
okay.
saying?
Now
Yeah,
we
yeah,
talk.
yeah. How did you find your spouse?
Before I even tell you that, I want to clarify a misconception, right? A lot of times we think that the guy's always looking, but it's also sisters who are looking, right? And there's two examples of that, and there's nothing wrong with approaching the situation yourself.
Nope.
Like if you're a sister and you think that there is a brother that you are interested in, it's okay to approach them, but approach them in the correct manner, the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to approach, okay? There's two examples of this. When Khadija radiallahu anha really started like feeling the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, she went about it the correct way. She sent a proposal to him, and then she went about, and then he went to his uncle, so on and so forth. But she sent a proposal to him. There was nothing else. There was no engagement. Sent a proposal. Second example, when Musa alayhi salam was there, and he helped the women with the water. Correct? When he went to Madian, right?
Yeah, sure,
he went to and exactly. And guess what happens? She was feeling him, so she told her dad.
So ain't nothing wrong with the sister approaching the brother. Ain't nothing wrong
but
with
the
that.
main thing is
What's the
your
problem?
parents have to create a approachable environment, because if they don't, what's stopping her from doing it in the haram manner? Because shaitan is waiting. You know what I mean? He's waiting. Shaitan doesn't have a Saturday, Sunday off. There is no long weekends for shaitan. He is working 24. You know the hardest worker is
24
shaitan.
hours.
Shaitan is
Right.
working hard.
Right.
He gets his little vacay in Ramadan, but he is working hard.
He's
You know what I
working real
mean?
hard.
Yeah.
And he is working hard for us to fall into those traps, right? Those late night conversations, they feel good. Come on now. They feel good, bro. Those voices are a little softer. Your ears are a little bit more excited to hear the voice. Shaitan is there. He understands how it works and approaches. This is a technique that's always been around. So the question is, how do you go about it? You tell your parents, and parents make it easy for them. But if you're wondering about how I found my spouse, right? I found my spouse back when social media wasn't really social media. It was like called like social network, or it was called like, it was called that. It wasn't called social media yet. It was called social network, right? So I was on Twitter, and this is back before like in Jahiliyyah, and I was just like tweeting a bunch of crazy stuff, and like people, my audience was just a bunch of like ratchetness. Like I just be tweeting a bunch of ratchetness, and somehow one of these ratchet tweets went all the way to London. And my wife now, had retweeted me, and I saw her on like via Twitter or whatever. This is back in 2010, and naturally I'm like feeling her or whatever, she's feeling me, and we just started talking, but it never worked out. Every time we talk, we'd vibe, we had chemistry, but it never went further than that. Because she's all the way in the UK, right? I'm here in the Bronx, right? Long distance. I'm like, chill out. I'm in the prime of my life right now, boys. Like, come on now. I'm like trying to do no pen pal long distance stuff. Right. I'm here for it now. So what happens is that it never works out between me and her. Just never does. And the beauty of that is that it didn't work out until we both went on the deen. So we talk on and off, and we had great chemistry, alhamdulillah. We vibed, but it never really connected and clicked until we stopped talking. Then we'd start talking. It was one of those. We stopped talking, then we start, and it was so great that every time you stop and you start, it feels like it's normal, like it's good. You just pick up. That's a sign of a good. That's a sign of a good relationship. Flip it over.
Nah, you don't tell me all. You don't tell me all this
it's all
time.
Good. It's all good, baby.
I can hear from one ear, but not the other.
It's okay, mashallah, mashallah. So we're here, and it's on and off until one day I hit her up, and like I'm on my deen, and I find out that she's also on her deen. And bro, when that happened, that's when it just 1, 2, 3'd it for us. So that's how I met my wife, via Twitter, and we just started talking back in 2010, and it didn't really work out until like 2013. Yeah, so it took some time for us to be on the same page, because Islamically and on deen we weren't. So we were always chasing something that wasn't real until our hearts really connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's my advice to anyone. Like, until you're not, a lot of people come into relationships half empty, expecting the other person to fill you up yourself. And people are like, oh, but wait, a marriage is half your deen, me. No, hold on a second, all right? Relax. Marriage is half your deen. Cool, but the other 5 pillars are the first part of your deen. You got to get that 100% right first. And when you even get the 100%, then you realize that you're still empty. That's when marriage is a part of you.
That's the part.
But let's perfect the first 5 first. You know what I mean? People just jump into the other part first when they don't got the first 5. We need to fix that up.
I like the point. I like that point. Like the point you just made. Gotta,
you gotta fix yourself. You gotta be on point first.
Right.
And then
Thank you.
No, you know what? I definitely agree with that. It's so funny. Sometimes I go on social media and I see posts like, I can't wait to get married. My husband to wake me up for Fajr prayer. I'm just like, man, oh man, oh man. Your mother has been trying that for so many years. That's something. That's something you got to work on yourself. That's not something you wait for your significant other to fix for you. And I agree with your point 100%. I think the deen is the most important. Like that's the first thing you gotta look at first.
Definitely.
Like, does this partner have the deen straight? I'm not saying perfect, because none of us are perfect, but that has to be the number one thing first that you gotta look into first.
Let me just say this, right? A shorty, right, a sister, is more attractive when she's on her deen. It's simple as that. Yep. And the brother is more attractive.
That's a fact, though. That's a fact.
When he's on his deen.
Because I feel, and then especially for marriage, you know what I'm saying? If all these brothers is out here, I mean, all my sisters is out here, right? That you feel like you still in the time frame where like you still trying to like
be
find
politically correct.
No.
No, I'm just I don't know what you're saying.
Man's about to get canceled before you get started.
Cancel culture.
He's about to get canceled before you get started. Yeah.
SQ, I'm used to that. You know what I'm saying? I'm used to that. I don't be holding back. But like I love all my brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, for the sisters out there, right, that's trying to be on their deen, but are not, like, they don't want to like, wear the hijabs or not. The brothers that's trying to get married, most of them, especially the brothers that's on their deen, they're looking past you. Like they're not looking at that.
Which I don't agree with.
You don't, but I feel like in our community, like most of the brothers I know, they're looking past you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because like it's like, again, we in a social media like world now. Right. So like all I gotta do is like scroll through the flicks. Nah, like 1, 2, like some brothers will just like
But I think,
denial?
but what you're saying right now, Salaf, I think that that's a problem with how the person is even going about it in the first place. Because the more options you give yourself in that manner, the less appealing the next person starts getting. Because if you really look at it, bro, there's one baddie after another. Like, let's be honest here.
It's never ending.
Let's be like,
No,
come
it's true,
on now.
it's true.
The more
You know?
option, you
Right.
know, the harder to choose.
Right.
There we
This
go.
is this is where the whole lowering your gaze part even comes in.
Bro, that's the
Because
genius
it's
of it.
Like,
Oh, look.
when
The lowering the gaze.
Right, you'll marry the best fight, but wallahi, if you're not lowering your gaze, every day you'll think you'll see something that's better than what you
He's
have.
married.
He's not bad.
So you
bro.
gotta
He's not
lower your
wrong.
gaze. It's very important.
And you know, people
man.
think
Take
lowering
notes,
your gaze.
single
Yo,
brothers.
listen,
I'm
people
taking
think,
note right now.
Listen, people think that lowering gaze means like it's supposed to mean to protect your private parts.
Right.
Yes, but it's also protecting your expectations.
Yeah.
Lowering your gaze is wisdom behind it, and it doesn't mean just towards women. It means towards like the newest whip, the
Yep.
newest sneaker. You
Yep.
gotta lower your gaze. And I realized this. We were picking out paint for our room, and bro, I went to like Home Depot or whatever. Right? I'm like, oh, I want a blue. Okay. I go and I see the blue.
Yeah.
Bro, there's blues that I never even thought existed. And every time I
It'd be
find a
like
blue,
that.
I'm like, but what's the
Yeah.
difference between this blue and this blue?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, a simple color became so complicated.
Yep.
You understand? Now I'm thinking about what about this? Now I'm thinking
Overthink.
about what if I regret not getting that blue?
Yeah.
You see? There's benefit in lowering your gaze. But going back to what you said about
you
looking
come back.
past you.
Yeah, looking past.
If you're looking past someone, that means you're superficially searching in the first place. And I'm sorry, that's no disrespect to anyone.
true.
Because let me tell you something. Even sisters with the hijab today, they're not respecting the modesty of the hijab. With all due respect to them,
Yep.
may Allah bless you. And there's sisters without hijab, but they're on their deen better than sisters who are on the hijab.
that's a fact.
Some people
That's a
are wearing
fact.
the hijab just for the cultural sake. They're not even wearing it really for the sake of Allah. And Allah knows what they're really, really up to. And may Allah bless them and guide them. I'm not saying they're bad or anything. But for us to look past the sisters who are not wearing the hijab, that is the most superficial thing. Because you know why? Let's suppose, what if she does need a push from the righteous brother? And I'm not saying she needs you like she's a damsel in distress. No. But I'm saying that I know sisters who are good sisters on their deen.
Yeah.
But do you know how difficult it is to wear the hijab? I mean, there's some brothers who don't even grow their beard fully.
Bro, it's even hard to wear kufi.
It's even
Like,
hard to wear
wallahi,
kufi.
you know, sometimes when I wear
Some
kufi,
Islamic
I'm in
representation.
public.
Right.
Mm.
Like, I feel so... I can't do certain stuff because I'm like, everybody looking at me.
Uh-huh.
And man, you the sisters.
Bro, and
You
it's
know?
for them. For Kufi, we might switch it up, wear a snapback one
Right.
day, we maybe take it off, show your waves off. I get it, right?
No
But
waves.
bro, hijab is a commitment.
It
And you
is.
know what?
It's not
Maybe
easy.
some people aren't ready for the commitment yet. We need to find better ways to, like, understand the people.
Yep.
Because who's saying that because they're not wearing the hijab doesn't mean they want to? They might, but they might need that push. Maybe they don't get the support at their house. Maybe their father figure, the male representation in their house is not telling how beautiful they look. Maybe they have lower self-esteem. Maybe think that the hijab, maybe it's the shaitan. Bro, there's so many maybes to why they're
Yeah.
not doing it. You understand?
that's
But
true,
you're about to
speaking
miss
facts.
out. You're about to miss out on potentially one of the best people in your life because you just judge them for the surface of it.
Yeah. Right.
But someone might say, oh, but they said that we judge based upon the appearance or the actions. They say that we don't judge upon that, we judge upon what's apparent. Listen, apparent, not appearance. There's a difference, right?
Yeah.
We judge based upon your actions of what you're coming off to me as, but not the appearance of the person.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
We can't do that because then we're filtering out so many people who could be good. But it doesn't mean that you pick someone who believes that hijab is not important. Now you're going crazy, right? Relax. Let's stop, calm down. I'm talking about the sisters who do believe in the hijab, but they're
And
just
it's-
not
it's-
ready
it just-
for it.
they're not
yet.
ready for it.
Yeah, how many things were we not ready for?
Yeah.
A lot.
Come
A
on,
lot.
Yeah.
come on. And we're now alienating a bunch of sisters that are so good for the deen, for the ummah, for you, for me.
Right,
For
and,
me,
and,
right,
and
yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest
For you
issues.
guys, okay.
And I think that's one of the biggest issues in our community now. We have become so intolerant of one another. We're like,
And
we have
judgmental.
these,
Yeah.
these extravagant expectations of just one another. Like, chill, man.
But
Like,
why do you think we're intolerant of people?
I don't know.
I think it's patience as well, and like
Mm.
you said, like, and the expectations, you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And
There's usually a level of projection that a person's upon. You see, whenever we get some criticism or someone bashes you or me, right? You can't take it personal
yeah,
because it's them projecting their feelings onto you. You understand? That's how they feel about themselves already. And they have a poison within them. And the only way they can feel better is by releasing that poison onto someone else. And what happens is, because you're already feeling a certain way,
Yeah.
your brain is fertile to take the seeds of their speech, and it gets implanted. So you were already feeling bad about yourself. Now I say something to you, and now it only reinforces what you were already feeling for yourself. So now it gets become bad and bad and bad and bad. That's why the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you have nothing good to say, then remain silent.
Remain silent.
Yep.
Why? Don't spread your poison onto other people. The people who bash people about the hijab, they're probably feeling bad about sins that they're committing on the low themselves.
Right, while wearing the hijab.
Or brothers who are looking for that, but they know they're not really who they say they are being, because they're pretending to be someone they're not.
Right.
Because they're afraid to be who they really are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And also, I think same could be said on the other aisle as well, for those sisters that are not wearing the hijab as well, because sometimes, you know, we have got to learn to take criticism better. You know, not all criticism is meant as an attack or meant as to bash you. It's none of that. You know, some people are genuinely trying to, you know, help you see things. Like for me, for example, I'm going to use my sister as an example, right? She used to not wear the hijab, right? For me, the way I went about it was I had to be the example first. I had to start with myself. I had to work on myself.
You started wearing the hijab?
No, not the hijab.
Okay,
but I started bettering myself. You know, as a better Muslim person before I could. Because sometimes what we often do is we, like you said, we like to project our feelings. You know, making it worse for the other person to receive the information, even if it's good information. But the way it comes out sometimes might not be well received. So so they have to be able to see that within you first, right? Like whoever the person is giving advice, you know, you have to be able to, with empathy, because again, we're not perfect. So, you know, be the example yourself before you speak to the next person. You know, and good words, kind words. You know, it doesn't have to be rough. You know, tell them the truth. My sister, I had to wallahi, it kind of made me sad, because when I did this, had I realized that I could have done this before, it would have made the situation. I would have done it a long time ago.
But you was outside.
I was outside. You know what I'm saying? But I bought her first batch of hijabs that she wore. She said, no one ever bought me this before.
Wow.
That's dope.
I swear to God. She said, I didn't know how to wear it. I didn't know what kinds to get. There's so many options out there.
There we go.
And wallahi,
and you here thinking, astaghfirullah.
Oh my God, astaghfirullah. You know, wear the hijab.
You're not being Allah.
You don't even have a hijab at home to wear it.
You
know?
Ain't that something?
Stop.
And wallahi,
Ain't that something?
I gave her my card. I said, this is the website that most, you know, Muslims go.
Can you give us your card too, since you're feeling in a generous mood? We just give you information, do some identity theft.
So I give her my card. I'm like, yo, this is the website. They have some really nice hijabs. Check the ones that you like, because I know there's different types. You know, some sisters wear it differently, stuff like that. And
facilitated for her,
made it so much easier for her.
Wow.
And wallahi, from that day on, the day I bought her those hijabs, she has started wearing this.
And you know what? As good as you feel about yourself, I want to let you know that it's really Allah who opened her heart.
Wallahi.
You know, as good as we feel about, you know, that, yes, it's a sadaqah jariyah for us, if Allah even accepted it, because only Allah knows how much riyah or niyyah there could have been. I'm not saying it was, you know, but you know, and we have to purify our heart all the time. And we should never be so happy about this, because you never really know. And we don't even know if we've backbitten against someone that we've given that deed to them. It's about coming on the day of judgment with your deeds. It's not about just racking them up. It's about preserving them at the end, protecting your deeds. So may Allah obviously accept from you. And may Allah open her heart and make it easy for everyone else to open their hearts as well too. And if you're a sister not ready for hijab, I know we went off a tangent. But if you're not a sister who's wearing the hijab yet, just know it's time. There's time. But just make sure that the niyyah is there, and make sure that you're working towards your goals.
And may Allah make it easy.
I mean, that's the main thing.
Allah,
you can't do it.
Yeah, may Allah make it easy for all of us. You know what I'm saying? But like going back to that, you know, don't just judge over just appearance, right? We know, but I stated that because, you know, I know a lot of people that do that as well. But, you know, SQ mentioned that, you know, that's not, you know, that shouldn't be your focus. You know what I'm saying? And let's just try our best, you know, to be the better, you know, the better versions of ourselves. You know, to try to improve ourselves, and inshallah that'll be good. And also,
also, I'm gonna say another thing to your point there about how to go about looking for a spouse, right? Because I think, especially nowadays, right, marriage has become more about, you know, like the superficial things, like the love. Like love is like put on the top
pictures.
first, right?
Yeah,
love, the whole love part is put on the top first. But what marriage is really about is duty. Marriage is duty.
It's an act of worship.
Right, it's an act of worship, and it's duty, right? You have your spouses, you have rights upon each other that you have to learn and know before you even try to go into marriage. Because how can you go into something without first doing your research? Are you even ready for that? Because it's not about the love and the superficial things we see, the vacations, the this, that, and the third. You have to know these things. So we have got to, it's mostly our parents' job to train us, to teach us how to be better husbands.
I just
how to
had
be
a
better wives.
conversation with my mom.
Because
about
it's
this
not just
2
something.
years
It's
ago.
not just something you go into.
I have a question,
Wallahi, it's
though.
not something you just go into. You have to learn
You have to be mature emotionally as well too.
for it. You know what I'm saying? It's not just something you go into because you love the person. No, it's more than that.
It's deeper than that. Bro.
And love is not the first thing. Love
Yeah,
comes
he's a lover
after.
boy. He's a lover boy. You see, that's why he's so
Right,
like, he's
and
into
love
it right
and
now.
love, wallahi,
Love.
love comes after. You each fulfill each other's rights. Wallahi, that's where the love comes. It does not come before. It comes after, and many people don't know this thing.
Okay, so going on that,
Yeah.
right? Because the next part of what we were supposed to talk about
Yeah.
is the scale from 1 to 10.
I still understand.
You said scale 1 to 10. How easy is it, do y'all think, for Muslim youth to find that spouse? What do y'all think?
Yeah. So it like it depends. Find that spouse or that soulmate. I'm not pretty sure on that, but I'm not gonna lie. I feel like just based off like my surroundings, it just seems like a lot of youth are like struggling. Scale 1 to 10. 1 through 10, I would say like I would say a 4, right? I would say just a 4. And also my question, like after everyone like answer that too. Is that mainly because of like ourselves, or are we putting that blame on our parents? Because
Have our expectations went up so high? When I say expectations, imagine on the websites there's like a bunch of stuff, and you could just put filter, and it just narrows it. It goes from 1,000 things to just like 31.
To zero.
You know what I mean?
To zero.
You know what I mean?
To
To the
zero.
lower and lower.
Yeah.
Have you turned on your filters so much that you feel like there's no good person out there, Nor am I saying lower your. See, there's a difference between lowering your expectations versus lowering your standards. Those are two different things. Lowering your expectations is understanding that we're all human beings and we all have faults and we're not perfect.
Right.
Standards are non-negotiables for you. So ask yourself, when you're finding it difficult that no, my spouse has to this, ask yourself, like, is that an expectation or is that a standard, right? Because an expectation should be negotiable. A standard is non-negotiable. Like I need, like the hijab thing for me is like not wearing a hijab for me is a standard wise it's okay, because what's a standard non-negotiable is not praying. That's a non-negotiable for me. You understand? Because that's my standard.
Yeah.
The hijab isn't my standard. The prayer is my standard, because with the prayer comes other things.
Yeah.
But if someone says the expectations are the hijab, then that's a filter you just put in, right? So you want to ask yourself, are you lowering your standards, or should we lower our expectations a little bit?
So I have
I'm not gonna lie
a
though.
question for that.
Like I'm not gonna lie. My expectation, the hijab was my expectation. Like you know what I'm saying. Like even though like,
I
but
hope
like
you see the difference.
no,
now.
I see the difference. You know what I'm saying. But like I don't like me personally. I don't treat a sister that wears hijab differently than who don't. Because like you know what I'm saying.
If you think so, there's hidden biases within us, bro.
Yo,
There's hidden biases.
Not always.
I
But
I
like,
think we all do.
We all do
You know,
some way,
we
bro.
might not
We
do
have to be
publicly.
honest with our
I
biases.
think we all
no.
do.
All right. I think marriage wise, probably it. But like just regular my normal interactions,
Okay.
I have a lot of friends that don't wear hijab. I have a lot of friends that's not even like Muslim. You know what I'm saying? And like I'm pretty sure the ones that I grew up with, they know. They just know who I am. They don't know my approach. But the moment when I started looking for a wife, on Instagram,
Must have this, must have this,
hey,
must have this.
the hijab
Search.
Yeah, the hijab was an expectation, bro.
So I have to ask, for the sake of clarity, right?
Go ahead.
How do we where do we get those standards from? If one is confused.
From the messenger sallallahu. What was his standard, right? He said what when you're looking for a spouse, right? And this is really prophetic advice. He said when a person's looking for someone, right, there's a few things that they look for. And we know the hadith, but try to imagine it from a different perspective. One of the things people look for is lineage, right? Are they a Kardashian? Whoa, might want to be affiliated with that or not, right? Because you know what he said? He said that if you look for that, that's something that could fail, because today you want to be affiliated with them, tomorrow there's a scandal, I don't even want to be known to them. Imagine The Simpsons, right? O.J. Simpson and everyone was like that, right? Or any type of scandal with someone really famous. Once upon a time, they were up here. Scandal goes down, like, yo, don't even talk to me. You know what I mean? Like, you just block them. He said if you do it for that reason, you can marry them for that reason, but here's the opposite of what could happen. If you want to marry them for their beauty, just know that they're gonna get old one day. They're gonna get these things
gonna
called
fade away.
wrinkles, right? There's these things called wrinkles. One day they're gonna look like they're washed, and that's the truth, right? And there's brothers out there who are doing their dirt. There's sisters out there who are doing their dirt. Just know that if you just think that you're just gonna get ran through and just find this man or find this woman, yo, that's not how life works. Your beauty, if you're relying on your beauty to get places, it's only a certain prime of your life.
There's limits.
It's limits to that.
Yeah.
But if you want to marry someone for that, bismillah, go for it. But just know the beauty's going to wear off too.
Right.
Okay, well, what about money? Money's a good reason for people to get married, right? They have wealth. They have a good lineage, good looks. Wealth is very important. Cool. But then you find out that it was all drug money. You married Pablo Escobar, right? You didn't even know, right? Or you find out they lose all their money. They go bankrupt. They file for whatever that schedule is for bankruptcy, right? Or they lost all their money in, Dogecoin. They put all their money in Dogecoin. They're like, oh, Doge? Nope, Doge is gone, right? So what happens, right? That's the thing. You lose all your money. So the messenger saw something saying, you can marry for that reason, but just know there's a high chance that money could go away or it could be polluted or corrupted. However, if you marry someone for the ikhlaq, for their deen, just know that's something that only gets more beautified, right? Because it's something that could be improved. It's something that can be upgraded all the time. Because with the looks, with these things, there's limitations. With the deen and the ikhlaq, it's endless. It's limitless.
Doesn't the hijab comes from the deen?
It absolutely does.
Yeah, so I can see why. I mean, like, again, by the time this drop, I'm already like off the market anyway. So I'm not doing no promotion, for myself.
I get what
but
you're
like,
saying. I get what you're saying. And I don't want people to think it's okay for you not to.
No.
Because that's not what I'm saying either.
No, that's we all understand. We all understand here. And but yeah, I mean, and we're talking about lowering our gaze, right? I remember when he first. Spotted his wife. And I was right next to him, man. But the sunnah, like you have one chance of like
of looking.
I
know brothers that don't even blink. They're like, oh damn.
That was him. He was ain't blink.
Well, you might as well take that one chance.
That one chance, right?
So, but
you went about it the correct way.
Right.
Because you're in a halal situation right now, alhamdulillah, because you went about it the correct way. Allah made it easy for you, alhamdulillah. And 1, 2, 3, when the niyyah is good, Allah does make it easy for you, alhamdulillah. Sometimes Allah does challenge you because He wants to see, do you really want this person? If you are, what are you willing to go through to get this person? Is the culture different? Are you willing to fight for that? Are you willing
You're making me feel bad now.
No,
you're making me feel bad now.
Because it's not about us.
Yeah,
it's about those who are listening at home, those who are watching at home. Because those who are dealing with this right now are struggling with this, bro. I know people who are from Mali, right? If someone is from Mali, guess what? Because someone else is from Senegal. It's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
And forget that.
That's done.
People in Senegal, if you're from a different tribe or village, that's a different problem.
yeah.
Bro,
That's done.
You were talking about parents have made it so difficult. I agree. But it's not parents. It's the culture. Because bless our parents, they only are following the footsteps of their forefathers.
That's true.
Unfortunately, I'm not saying it's right, but it's unfortunate. And it's crazy that we're reverting back to the times of the Quraysh when it comes to things like this. We're becoming tribal all over again. Wallahi, we're actually
Very similar.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not right.
true,
That's not right. And we need to rise above that ourselves.
And then speaking of the halal way, right? Is there such, because we had this conversation before, right? Is there such thing of halal dating? You know what I'm saying? Because, people, some people like, oh, there's no, like.
Some people say it is.
Yeah, no, like, because, you have people they kind of go out the way, if dating is haram, then there's no way of, like, making the dating halal because it was never halal, you know what I'm saying? So
are you trying to tell me that there's no way to right your wrongs? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Oh.
Okay. That goes against.
No,
you get what I mean, right?
I get what you're saying.
So by just that, because when we think of that, it just sounds so like, if it's haram, you can't make it halal. It's got to be over or stay in the haram.
Yeah.
So a bit, and I asked just a different question: is there no way to right your wrongs? And internally, of course there's a way. That's
right.
I can't. Of course, there's right ways to right. There's ways to right your wrongs.
Yeah.
But the first thing is you got to admit that it's wrong. You have to acknowledge that it's wrong. You have to repent and turn back to Allah. You have to promise Allah you won't do it again. And you know what you do? You go tell your mom. You tell your dad. Say, Mom and Dad, there's someone that I really like. Right? But here's the problem with that now. Because you're so sprung and so deep in, now if you had to cut it off, it hurts even more.
You see, I think,
and that might be
I'm gonna go a little further on
Go ahead.
because that's actually something actually, me and my wife was talking about it the other day, like how some people, we stretch too long the amount of time it takes to get to the marriage itself, right? From the time you meet this potential spouse to the time you get married, it should not be taking too long, right?
No.
Because, and one of the things we say is, well, I need to know this person fully, this, that, and man, listen, you don't really fully know a person until you live with them.
That is fact.
That's a
You know?
fact.
But this doesn't mean that you also just blindly marry someone. Like,
Right,
there's a
you
strike a
don't-
balance. It
you
needs to
don't,
be
but-
a balance.
But it plays a like is the whole process of like how, let's say for someone that's like fighting for someone for their parents, obviously that's gonna take a while. That's gonna take a time process, right? Throughout that time period, that's when like things could happen. Like, normally it happens that way, and like the second way will be like they're trying to get to know. But I feel like if any guy y'all talking for like a good 2 months and he's still trying to get to know you after 6 months, after like,
Hell no.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something right now.
Right.
Yeah, he playing-
and that's
he
my
playing
thing.
with you.
I
back
personally
to, like-
know people that have gone to like a year plus, 2 year plus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nah.
I'm like,
you
man,
know.
what-
That's just
what-
shaitan.
Yeah.
That's shaitan.
I'm like, at that point, it is going to be so hard to separate you guys if things don't work out.
And you
know what
have
I'm
to
saying?
be ready to walk away. I want people to know.
Yeah, that's
that.
a tough part too.
You
I'm not
have
like,
to be ready to walk
We'll
away.
talk about that.
We have to be. Oh, what are you saying? You were gonna
No,
say
I was
something.
gonna say, like, you know, the reason why it take a lot of people to, you know, get to know each other 6 months, a year, 2, 3 years. It go back to like knowing what you want and what you need in a partner. You know.
Yo, you said facts just now. You know why? You know why?
Facts.
A lot of times people are getting to know someone not because they're in love, it's because they're lonely and they need a distraction.
Right.
Damn.
And you're a band-aid for them. You understand?
Yeah.
A relation. Some people
That's
are on the
tough.
rebound because they just got out of a relationship and they're trying to find someone new. You understand?
Yeah.
Some people are just hurt and they're trying to cover the mask, the pain
Right.
by being in another relationship. Some people are hurt at home and they're looking for an outlet outside. You have to know that there's a level of maturity when it comes to marriage. And you got to
Yeah.
ask yourself, is it I'm looking for my other half of my deen, or is
I'm
am I
just
looking for something just to be for the now, the temporary? You know what I mean? You got to really ask yourself. And on top of that, right? If, and this is sisters' advice for you, and even brothers out
And
there.
brother.
There's some Trishi sisters out there. I just want to say that, right? There's some
there's
Trishi
what?
sisters out there.
Tr-
Trishi.
Trishi.
Come on, Trishi.
Trishi.
Some babas? Babas? No?
I don't know what that means.
Some thoughts? All right, we're gonna.
Oh, Trish.
Trish,
Oh,
right?
Trish.
Trish, bro. There's a Trish.
Come on, fella.
No, that's right.
There's
Trish.
some, there's some out there. So I don't want to say. I'm not trying to say that
The
it's
brothers only.
You know, it's a brothers only thing because I
Yeah.
think that's a misconstrued a lot of times. It's brothers only, like brothers. You know, no. There's some sisters out there who are playing games too. I've been played with. I'm pretty sure if anyone's been long enough trying to find sincerely a spouse, that they've been played with.
And it hurts.
And you know, it does hurt because you feel like you could trust this person, but then you find out that they're kind of, you know, shiesty. But we're not gonna go there. That's the next podcast, right?
that's the next
But
podcast.
hear me out, right?
Love it.
So if you're one of them, if the sister, right, hasn't tried to have you speak to her brother or her father, if the brother hasn't already tried to get your father's number or your brother's number,
Then that's
right?
serious.
That's a red flag.
Yeah, that's a red flag.
And here's the problem. We see the red flags,
We ignore
but
it.
we're so in love or infatuated that we ignore it. And you know what we're really doing? We're lowering our standards. Because you're someone's queen, you're someone's king, and you need to do in the halal way in marriage. But because you're so infatuated and you're afraid of losing them, you lowered your standards. You're not really being yourself. You're pretending to be someone you're not. And you know you're someone who fears Allah. You know you're someone who fears Allah. You don't want to go on the haram route, but you're so afraid to end it with them and lose them that you're willing to lose your iman and your deen and your faith just for a person. And trust me,
That's
when you
deep.
leave something for the sake of Allah, Allah replaces what you lost with something better.
Yeah, SQ, you came here to speak facts today.
You already know!
All facts.
You already know!
All facts. No caps,
May Allah,
all facts.
May Allah make it easy for us.
No,
man,
man's on
that's
fire,
deep.
man's
I
on
think
fire.
a lot of you fall into that. you know.
That's
Even
an
myself.
IG clip
I'm
right
not-
there. That's
yeah.
his own clip.
Yeah, right there,
Oh,
right
yeah.
there. But like, I mean, like, to kind of like, you know, we could be here all day talking about this, but like, you know, what if? All right, so let's say there's someone that's like in that predicament, you know, in that type of relationship, and want to leave or left already, but like, you know, like how do you heal from that? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you? Because you know, in most cases, I feel like you just need to like, after like coming from a relationship like that, or like, you know, something like that, you need some time to like refocus and like, you know,
Get
you know,
yourself together.
yeah, like, how do you think like a person should like go about that? Either they want to leave that, but they don't know how to leave, or they left already, and like you know how should that go?
You know, I'll tell you one thing. I genuinely believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed me to go through so much in my life just so I can be like the conduit to help other people avoid my pitfalls. You understand? I've been through a lot of heartbreaks in my life because I put myself out there and I was really incomplete my whole life. And I thought that a person would complete me. So what I kept on doing was I kept on giving a piece of me, a part of me to someone else. And every time it got broken, every time it got harmed or it didn't work out, I felt like I lost myself a little bit deeper. And I thought the way I heal is by what I seen in the media or what I seen my friends tell me, the advice they gave me, because they weren't Muslim. You know what they were telling me to do? Drink. Bro, I had like, I remember, I'm like 18 years old. Went through my first heartbreak at like 17. I'm just 17 and a half, 18 years old. I still remember, till this day, I had a bottle of Hennessy on me all the time. I had a box of cigarettes on me all the time, right? And then astaghfirullah. Why? Because that's what I used to mask my pain, to heal me. But I was masking my pain. I was putting Band-Aids on a bullet wound, as they say, right? And the problem with masking a pain or not actually dealing with the trauma or the issue is that you might mask it for a second, but you haven't healed the wound.
Yeah, long term.
And guess what happens to the wound? It becomes infected.
Yeah.
And when the wound becomes infected, it manifests as spiritual infection. As in, you know, you feel more sad, you feel more lonely, you start going down this deeper rabbit hole. And then guess what happens, right? Then some of you out there, how you're masking your pain, you smoke a blunt. And a lot of people are smoking weed and all this, and I'm not here to talk about the medicinal benefits or uses of it. I'm talking about like recreationally, and for you when you're doing it because you're bored or you're missing something or you're feeling down or low and you're trying to get that zaza, so I'm just saying, right? You got that zaza to the mata is a real thing.
He's in tune.
I'm just saying. So the question is, right, are you using these things to cope with your pains? Because if you are, just know you're doing something wrong, because your wounds are not getting healed because you're not handling it. You need to handle it. And the way you handle any wound is by acknowledging it, that there is a wound, there is a process, and you start its recovery. And it starts with self-love. Learning to love yourself. On my way over here, I feel like I gave myself a compliment for the first time ever. How many times Muslims are afraid to compliment themselves because we think it's arrogant or prideful, or someone gives you a compliment, no. What's wrong with giving yourself a compliment and showing yourself some love? If you're not going to love yourself or be your number one cheerleader or supporter, who the hell is? You understand? If you keep feeling bad, someone's going to say, it's not going to work out. You're thinking it's not going to work out. They plant that seed of poison in you. Now you're thinking it's all over. You understand? You got to be your number one believer. You got to believe in your fan. You got to believe in yourself, bro. You have to go down this path, because if you don't believe, bro, how can anyone else have that belief in you? You got to believe in yourself. There has to be some confidence, and it starts with some self-love. Appreciate some qualities that Allah has given you about yourself. Appreciate them. Give yourself a compliment. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not going to become arrogant all of a sudden. Calm down. You know what I mean? Learn to love yourself a little bit more, because it's the lack of love that you have for yourself that causes you to look for love in other people.
Yo.
Ain't that the truth?
Wow.
Yo, SQ, you was born in New York?
Oh, no. I was born in Phoenix, Arizona. Go Suns. One game away from wearing that, go to the finals, inshallah. But my whole life, it was in the Bronx. My whole life.
So all facts, he came in with no caps. Or he came with a cap, but he's speaking facts.
You already know.
Okay. Oh, man, that's beautiful.
No, but I agree with you on a lot of things you said. And in terms of healing, though, right? Obviously, very important. You have to recognize there's a wound there to fix. But I think oftentimes what we do is we try too hard to heal ourselves, right? Just the same way we need doctors,
yes, sir,
to help us heal, with our illnesses, just like we need mechanics to fix our cars. Sometimes,
the specialist, the experts.
Right, the expert in those things, you cannot always fix yourself, right? Learn to love yourself, learn to do this. That's
you
good,
gotta reach out.
but you have got to reach out. You have got to learn to seek help when you need it.
And how do you do that? Like,
nice to meet you. My name is SQ. This is what I do. This
Right.
is what I do. This is what I do.
Right.
And this is what we need to do for other people.
Right.
We need to be there to help people out.
And this is why on the topic of marriage, since that's what we're talking about, I'm a big advocate of premarital counseling.
Somebody told me that. Literally, like a couple days ago.
I'm a big advocate of it, and even within marriage
This guy
itself,
on Instagram
counseling should still be ongoing. Even if you may assume that everything
For like
is
the first
good,
year at least.
right? Everything
at least.
is good, and you're happy.
What?
Seek counseling.
How do you go about that since you married?
He don't go to no counseling.
I actually do go to counseling. You don't know that.
Oh, mashallah.
I do go to
Ah,
counseling.
You know what? Can I just say
Oh,
there's
no,
such
no.
a stigma with counseling.
Right.
You know why? Because it makes it look like you don't know how to make a marriage work,
Right.
or you're a loser,
Exactly.
or
Yeah.
there's something
But that's
wrong.
not what it is. But
Uh-uh.
that's actually you, a part of you trying to be
Yeah,
the better
yeah.
husband, the better wife.
Yeah.
Well, like, let me tell you. Once you get married,
Proactive.
listen, you gotta be proactive. It's not. Listen,
You gotta go to the doctor visits.
right, all the time.
yeah,
Yearly
SQ.
annual
Take
visit.
notes, Salah.
You get what I'm saying?
You gotta take
Should I make him my
important.
co-host now?
You
Yeah.
gotta.
Light skinned brother
Nah,
has to be.
let's give brother has to
Maintenance,
approve.
maintenance is key. You can get a car brand new.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't
You
take care
gotta
of it.
keep up with it. You
I
gotta
like
you
that
gotta do
knowledge.
maintenance, man.
The
I'm
counseling
sorry.
for the car, take it to
Oh,
the
boy.
dealership, get
Right.
that oil change.
Right.
Yo,
Right.
I feel you on that. I like that.
That's another feel for our youth going into
Don't leave
counseling
me
to
hanging,
really
bro.
tap
Come
into.
on, don't
I'm
leave me
telling
hanging.
you.
Don't leave me
Oh, my
hanging.
fault. I'm sorry.
No, but I think
not
that's a
premarital
good point. But I
counseling?
think a lot of times people feel like there's a stigma around that.
Right,
So you
right.
know what they start doing? They start pretending like things are okay when things are not. And bro, the first year of marriage is one of the toughest years for marriage.
It
It
is.
is.
Yep.
Bro, I remember when I first got married, you know?
I've never experienced it.
SubhanAllah.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah. You know, again, we thought we would get over Fajr and all that. That happened. But you know what else
few
happened?
weeks.
Her hair being all over the place. I'm like, come on. I'm annoyed.
Oh my! You
know what I mean?
You gotta be married to
You
understand.
know what I
these
mean?
things, you know what I'm
Yo,
saying?
you know what's annoying? Let me tell you
Yeah,
something
yeah,
annoying.
yeah.
This is only, yo,
I mean,
I'm
if you got
thinking people are
sisters, you
laughing
know.
at home. People are laughing at home because they know it's true, right?
Right.
Word.
And with all due respect, my beard hair's all over the place. So it
Yeah,
ain't,
yeah.
you know, I'm
Right.
just keeping it real.
Right.
And next thing you know, the smallest things you're not used to doing because you live with yourself, you know?
Right. That's
It's annoying you. Like,
Yeah.
you know, something small as, yo, why do you press the toothpaste from the middle and not from the back, bro? Who does that?
With that, right?
Who
right,
does that?
Right.
Whoa. Why are you putting your mouth in the
Yeah.
orange juice, bro? Put it in a cup. Or
Right.
she's saying that to you. You
Right.
know what I mean? There's these small things that you don't do. Oh, you're in the shower, but you didn't clean the drain out. You know, it's just these small things that you don't realize. You know, oh, why your hijab pin? Do you step on her hijab pin? Like, you sit on it. You just don't know. It's so many different
So make
things.
sure, make sure you ready. You
Listen.
ready
No,
for
no,
this,
that-
man.
there's
It's an
definitely-
adjustment.
there's
And I'm not
definitely-
saying you got to go to counseling for that.
Okay.
What
No,
I'm
no, not
saying
for that,
is
not for that.
it's an adjustment because the same way little habits like that can annoy you, which is okay, right? It's not annoying you. It's an adjustment process, right? You got to adjust to the different person in your life, in your space. The same way that this person's now in your physical space, they're also in your emotional space. You might not have those minutes to be alone anymore because you're just with the person all the time. So sometimes you might need to be alone. Or sometimes they did something to you that you didn't like, or you interpreted as something you didn't like, and you don't know how to express it. So what happens is it made you feel a certain way, so you bottled it up, and you just keep bottling it up, and they keep doing it. But they're not mind readers. You got to tell them.
Right.
Communication is
Communication
key.
is key.
Communication is key.
Boundaries are
Yeah.
key.
Yeah,
There needs to be some boundaries.
There needs to be
Why
some
not?
boundaries.
Why not?
You
Just
have to-
make sure-
you have to be able to effectively communicate
yeah.
that.
So just make sure marriage 101. We got SQ and
You
we
already
got here
know.
for that.
You already
You know
know.
what I'm
And
saying?
just for the record, I'm not saying everyone needs counseling, but don't be afraid to
Right,
get it.
to get
If
it.
you feel like, you know what,
you gotta
because
go.
ask yourself, okay? When it comes to counseling, they always are just like, it makes them feel like, they're wrong. There's something wrong in their marriage, right? That's
Right.
where they got to go to counseling, right? But that's not true, right?
At all.
But let's suppose you are wrong. Let's suppose there is something wrong in your marriage. What do you want? Do you want to be right or do you want to be married? Do you want to be right or do you want to be in love? Which one is it? What's more important to you? If it's keeping your marriage, then get your you-know-what and get some
And
counseling.
get some counseling, yeah.
But if your marriage ain't that important to you and you're like on to the next,
Right.
well then, you know what? You're going to treat your relationship like that too. And then your marriage has gone out the door too
Quick
because it's
question.
gone.
Quick question. Since you guys both did it, so would you guys prefer people going to like a Muslim counselor to do like the marriage counselor thing?
I think a
or-
Muslim is able to understand you. Go ahead. I
Right.
just think
No,
a Muslim is able
yeah,
to
yeah,
understand
yeah.
you better.
This is actually why anybody going into counseling, I'm telling my little brother right now, he's studying psychology. I'm like, yo, bro, you want to do counseling? Like, as
It's
some
a need in
Islamic,
the Muslim
right?
community.
It's a huge
very
need. Like we need it.
Definitely.
We need it.
Any psychology majors out there, just know
Right.
that mental health space and this in the next 10 years is going to boom.
Nah, for
So
sure.
if
For
you
sure.
Lot
are
of
not
money.
in that field, there is
Nah, for sure,
there's a
for sure.
bag waiting for
Right.
you.
For sure.
So get on that. Learn, study Islam, study Islam,
right, study Islam, yeah.
Study the fiqh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
bro.
study the
Connect
fiqh,
them.
Right.
Yeah.
and study the psychology,
Right.
and link them together.
And link
Study
them
the
together.
sunnah because it is connected.
Yeah,
Right? It is connected.
Yeah,
Yo, that's gonna be beautiful.
I think it would. It's better if there is a Muslim counselor because
Nuh-uh.
we're Muslims, right?
Right.
We are not the same as like the non-believers. We have different beliefs. We have different ways. We have our own way of life.
That's fine.
We accept that and
Nuh-uh.
we cherish
Nuh-uh.
that the most. So yes, in the perfect world, we will want that to be a Muslim counselor because they know what Islam asks of us. Sometimes we forget.
Yeah.
You know. So yes, to answer your questions, yes, I think it would be better for you to go to a Muslim counselor. But
A
if that's not available, right, a qualified
good,
Muslim,
because there's some Muslim counselors out there.
Right.
Some people think you could just go to the imam, which I think is a good option. I do believe that, right? But you also want to not go to your maybe local imam who might know you more, and there might be a bias because
Yeah.
some sisters might feel
Or
like she's just
judgmental.
taking his side
Yeah.
because he knows. And there are unfortunately a lot of people who take the man's side and just say
Yes.
like it's the woman's fault, it's the woman's fault, it's
Yep.
the woman. When that's not true,
Right.
right?
Right.
Sometimes it is the guy. Sometimes it is. You know, sometimes it's both because it takes two hands to clap. I'm just saying it is. So you might want to go to a neutral party. And, you know, I know many counselors who I would personally say that they're not afraid to say, yo, you're wrong.
Inshallah.
Straight up.
Inshallah,
They're Muslim?
inshallah.
Absolutely.
They're Muslim.
cool.
All right, so like
Put the names
you know,
down.
I guess I guess one of the future episodes has got to be how to maintain your marriage because like even
marriage is a lot of maintenance.
yeah because even our community right now, I mean, like we're seeing a lot of like new couples getting married.
Young ones
Mashallah.
too.
Yeah, but also like the divorce rate is kind of going
It's
up
the
too.
same
You know what I'm saying?
as the non-Muslims.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so
Right.
Can we believe that?
that's definitely something
It's
that
the
we gotta.
same as that means we both are doing something wrong
Yeah.
collectively.
Yeah.
If it's the same rate, right, that means there's a common denominator between both. And you're hitting it on the head, bro.
Yeah.
The idea is a marriage is basically a vehicle, and you gotta maintain it.
Maintain
You
it.
gotta maintain it. You gotta clean it. You gotta
Yep.
make sure you get the oil because it's only gonna go as far as you take care of it. So take care of your marriage. You gotta maintain it, and there's many ways.
Yeah, that's
many
the key.
ways to
I'm
maintain
telling
it.
you, it's not about you get married and you think it's all said and done. That maintenance is key. Yeah.
All right, last advice, for any person that's out there that's trying to like look for a spouse, what advice you got for them, SQ?
I would definitely recommend you guys be patient. And I know that's kind of cliche or something, but good things take time. Do you just want a spouse or do you want the spouse? Because the spouse takes time. A spouse is around the block. You feel me?
That's a fact.
And it's not like you can't find a good spouse around the block. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is like if you want the spouse, then it takes some time. But if you just want a spouse, then just go and get someone, right? But if you want the spouse, be patient a little bit. Make dua. If you're not up for tahajjud, you don't really want them. I just want to say this right now. If you're not up for tahajjud, you don't really want it. If you're making dua for anything, and this goes for anything, but if we're talking about marriage or maintaining your marriage or anything that you want to like, if you're not up for tahajjud, you don't want it as bad as you think, or you're lying to yourself that you
So
want
tahajjud
it.
is
Yeah, I
the
heard.
key.
Tahajjud is the key.
Tahajjud is the key.
Noted.
Bilal, Omar, any last?
Yeah. One advice I would give is the what you mentioned about our parents in terms of marriage. I think sometimes we have to. I think we combat. We can be very combative when it comes to that, right? Our parents are our parents at the end of the day, right? I think sometimes we have to leave some room there for some compromise, right? I'm not saying give all the way in, but you as well as like as the child, you have to be able to compromise just a little bit, right? Don't say this is it. Like you spoke about first in the beginning, the Prophet ﷺ, when it comes to marriage, you have to look at the lineage, wealth, beauty, all these different things. But it's important, right? Lineage is very important, right? And sometimes this is where most of our issues come from, especially us coming from West Africa. I'm not sure.
In Pakistan, it's similar.
Right. Yeah. So the same thing. So again,
But let me ask you about that, right? And I don't mean to go off topic or cut you off in your advice, but it's important for me to just ask this, right? What about lineage is important? Because if your parents are objecting because of their character, that's a very much so. And if someone, and I believe that parents should find the balance between stopping and advising. There's a difference, right, between controlling and advising. Saying your part and saying, look, from what we understand, and after us asking around and us doing some research on the person, some parents just say no without even meeting them.
Oh yeah.
Come on now.
Oh no,
The
no.
Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said,
Just the last name or
seriously, just from the tribe. Listen, they say no without even meeting them. Okay, so how about this? The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that if someone comes asking for your your daughter's hand in marriage, and they have good character, marry them, because if you do not, there will be fasad and fitna across the dunya, the world.
And that's what's happening.
The world, because you know what that does? That lowers the quality of people. Now, if your child is coming to you and you trust their judgment, because mashallah, parents, you did a good job raising them. What are you afraid of, right? That they have bad judgment.
Right.
You raised them, so maybe this is projecting of your own. You know, onto them. Like, I didn't do a good job. I don't trust your judgment. You know what I mean? But if you trust the fact that, listen, I raised them on the Quran and Sunnah. My child is this. They read the Quran. They can't bring the norm. Let me at least entertain the idea. Let me listen to them.
Right.
And they bring to you the portfolio. You know, as a child, you got to come to them ready. You can't just say, Mama, I like someone. You got to have the answers ready. It's like going to Shark Tank.
or job
You know what I
interview.
mean? It's like Shark Tank. You got to go there with the pitch. All right, Mama, Baba, hold on a second. I'm
Here's
going to
the
blow you away. You got
Here's
to have the PowerPoint. You got to have it all ready.
No, she's serious. Oh, he's
You gotta
serious.
have the Prezi, bro, but it's just all over the place, right? And you gotta bring to them any objection, you're ready for the rebuttal. You have it all ready for them, right? Boom, 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 boom. But as parents, you can't just say no immediately.
Right.
Do some research. Parents say no without even doing istikhara.
Oh yeah.
Listen to what I just said.
Yo, now repeat that one more
Parents
time.
are saying no without even doing
the
istikhara. Come on now. At least do istikhara before you say no to me, right? At least sleep on it, as they say, you know? But
Pray for me, you know.
But pray. But as the parent, if you believe with real knowledge, with sound knowledge, with actual facts of the person, that look, we just did some research on the person, and you're the third person that they're talking to, right? Or we did the research on the person, and we found out that from people, from the grapevine, and they've actually researched, not just cap it, they actually checked, they fact checked, you know, like they get the Carfax, they got the Carfax on the brother or the sister, right? Hey, we actually found out that they're actually someone who parties, they actually do something.
Right.
You got to take that serious.
Yeah.
You can't just be, oh, mama, baba, I love them. All right, cool, ruin your life. Your parents are telling you something out of love, out of concern. Listen to them. They have your best interest. Listen to them, right? But they're telling you real reasons. But if they just told you because, oh no, they come from them,
Yeah.
right? They come from them, right? And you
Just
know
that.
that they have good character, though, right? And even if they came from them, that person has good character.
Right.
What objection do you have about them? At least meet them. At least let them bring the proposal. At least entertain
Open
the
the
idea.
door.
Sleep on it.
Yeah.
Do istikhara about it before. And you know what? And you as a child should also be a little soft. It takes two.
Yeah, it takes
Right,
a-
right.
that-
You got to
that
be a
takes
little
two.
soft too, but you also have to have your stuff together. How is it that you're coming, mama, baba, I'm ready for marriage, but they're still washing your drawers? You know what I mean? They're still washing your underwear. You know what I mean? Come on now.
Hey.
They're still telling you to pick up and clean up, your room. How is it that you're ready for marriage, Habibi? You're not ready yet. You got to get emotionally ready. You got to be really prepared. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't do your laundry. Now, calm down, all right? I'm not saying that, parents, mashallah, could do this. It's okay. But what I mean is maturity level. Like, you still forget to call your mom or dad when you get to the destination you said that you would call them. And you expect them to be ready. Come on. If you want them to take your judgment serious, give them a reason to trust you. And the best way is to make sure that your 5 is on point. If your 5 daily prayers is on point, and you're the one who wakes them up for Fajr, bro, you're proving to them.
Yeah.
You're proving to them you're really a
These
man.
lessons- these
you're really a
lessons take
woman. You
notes.
know what I mean? You're really showing to them that you're ready emotionally, spiritually. You're ready. But come to your parents correct. Don't just come in there and all that and make a lot of dua, ask Allah to soften their hearts. But if your parents say no, it's not the end of the world. You don't got to convince them then in that moment. You sleep on it too. You make istikhara too. Slow down a second and keep coming back to them. And if you really want it, maybe that's Allah's way of testing you to see if you really want it. And I'm not here talking about people who are just like trying to be with any random person. I'm talking about people who have really done their research themselves. You know what I mean? It's not just random. It's you really know who you're getting yourself into. You've done your research yourself. You saw those red flags. And you feel like there aren't. And you know what? You have asked around about them. There's nothing wrong with that, bro. Running a little background check on them. There's nothing wrong with that. Run that background check. And if it comes clean and you really trust us, you didn't discard and your parents, bro, just be patient with the whole thing, the whole process and all too. So that's what I know when I'm telling you, but that's essentially what
Inshallah, we're gonna end it here, but like, don't forget.
But he didn't even say his point. I'm sorry, he didn't say his advice.
It's
very simple. Like I said it during when we was talking. Basically, just try to figure out what you need and what you want. I think that's very, very important.
That's the first thing.
Like he mentioned, expectations and boundaries, all these things. Like you have to know the difference between what I want and what I need in a partner. That's very important. And ask yourself this question. Like I always tell my friends is, if you see a brother or sister, mashallah, she's very, or he's very whatever, I find interest in her. Ask yourself this question. If my daughter or son is like this individual, would I be satisfied with that?
Wow. That's deep. That's deep.
And if you feel comfortable with that answer, like you can answer that comfortably, yeah, mashallah, that person, it might be it. But if you like hesitant, I think you should take it, step back and evaluate why you like that individual.
And that's very similar to what he was saying as well too. And guess what? Sometimes we need our parents to reevaluate it for us.
Yes.
And we should listen to that. So long as our parents are not like being like crazy about it. Like we have to remember, and parents need to remember, that you need to show your children that you're on their side. Because this is what causes so much problems between the children and the parents. And if you lose your child, they will just run away with them. Don't think that you got control over your child. They're grown. They're just going to do whatever they want anyways. So instead, you got to get them on your side. You need to help them see your perspective. And that starts from coming from a place of love. So come from a place of love, parents. Come from a place of love and just show them that you're there for them. And wallahi, if you really love them and you're really making dua for them and you're really doing istighfar for them, guess what's going to happen? Allah's going to unravel it for you. If they're really not good for you, Allah's going to open their eyes for you. And guess what? When it all breaks up and they're all broken, you're going to hug them and hold them and be like, you know what? And you're not going to say, I told you so.
It's not the time,
No, I told you so. Me. No. Hey.
Yeah, guys, make sure you show this. You show this clip. If you have watched this far, make sure you show this clip to your parents. Have
this
them
may
watch.
help you or get you slapped. I'm not taking any responsibility for this.
And if you gotta translate to your parents, just don't tell them exactly what he said. Just make it a little cute a little bit. So
thank you so much, SQ, for coming, man. Thank you guys for coming. Make sure y'all copy y'all Zamzams, man.
Yeah, definitely. It's for a good cause, guys.
I finished mine.
Mashallah, it's for a good cause.
I need
guys.
more.
No, seriously. Well, I appreciate y'all.
I need a whole bottle. I wanna.
No, I appreciate that, bro. And just know that, guys, it's going for a good cause, and we're building a school in Gaza. When has that ever happened? And we're not waiting around for people to come help Muslim Ummah out, because that's just one project. Bro, the next one we're doing is Gambia. We're just going to be building a bunch of wells and installing solar panels over there. You understand? That's the plan. We're going to go to Yemen. We're going to create a food pantry for them, bro. This is not, and what's going to allow that to happen is us importing more and more Zamzam. We want Zamzam to be a household item that Muslims should have access to.
I love it.
You know what I mean? And can I just say this to anyone listening to this beautiful podcast out there? Honest to God, like, it would mean the world to me if after hearing this and you're like, you know what, like, there's some help that I need, because I offer counseling and all that sort of stuff, absolutely for free. Like, I'm not even charging nothing. I don't want nothing from you. Just shoot me a message. Just DM me and say, hey, Brother SQ, I heard I came from the such and such podcast. Flag me. I'm gonna flag you on the DMs on Instagram. I'm gonna flag you, and that means you have full access to me. You have a problem, you come, you talk to me. Even if you don't have a problem right now, and maybe you have one in 6 months or so, I hope you never, but if you do, and you need to talk to me, you're flagged. So even in 7 months and a half, you're like, SQ, this just happened. You come straight to my inbox to the top, and I'm, hey, bro, what's up? And I know where you came from, so I give you priority. Way of Life SQ.
Way of Life SQ, man.
Wait, what does SQ stand for?
Yeah.
That's my name.
I told you, Salaf.
We
had this conversation.
My first and last, my first initial, last, and everyone's been calling me SQ before the cameras were on.
I just know
we had
as
this
SQ.
So, yeah, you've known me for a minute,
SQ.
yeah. So anyone needs any help, just DM me on Instagram, or you can check it out on YouTube, Way of Life SQ.
Yeah, bro. Make sure y'all like and subscribe, man. Salaf TV is out playing season 2.
Turn on that post notification.
Everything is on.
And definitely this podcast, I feel like it's going to be going big, especially if you keep bringing relevant topics like this that youth could vibe to and listen throughout, bro. Because this is something I feel like people are listening to in their car. They're on their way to work. They're on their way to school. They're going to be tuned in. And if they're not, they're missing out.
They're missing out.
Wallahi, they're missing out.
They're missing out, inshallah.
More content coming up. Also, it won't be just like, podcast
Yeah.
stuff. We're gonna do like challenges, you know,
Inshallah.
with everything, you
Inshallah.
know, just make it
Inshallah.
fun.
Inshallah.
Tune in. Make
Next
sure
time we
you
do a
tune
spicy chip challenge, all of us.
Facts.
Let's do it.
And also a lie detector for the married brothers that
Oh no!
I only want one woman.
Oh.
You know, we gonna see.
Wait, what's that? What's
Wait,
that?
No man is
wait.
faster than that.
Hey,
No
we
man
gonna
is
see,
faster.
sisters.
Okay.
I got your back.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, guys.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yo, love, man. Love. This was awesome, guys. This was awesome.